of this vehicle, and that gives you an idea just how fast at times they were traveling. That's correct. It was basically in the North Ranch area of Santa Clarita, in and out of surface streets, running through stop signs and stoplights. We don't believe that there was an accident, but certainly the individual was driving recklessly and at a high rate of speed in an area where it was very dangerous. Exactly why they don't have a unit right on top of this vehicle or behind the vehicle, especially since we don't have an air unit overhead, is a little surprising, but traveling so fast at one point in time, I'm not certain they were able to keep up. It was a couple of larger CHP vehicles, some SUVs that were pursuing this vehicle when we first caught up with it right off the 5 freeway on the 126. And when I look back, I just don't see any patrol cars that are within probably a mile or two of this vehicle. The air unit not overhead yet either. So at this point in time, it's difficult for them to track the car. I'm sure they've called ahead as we head into the Fillmore area. There will probably be more CHP vehicles assisting LA County Sheriff's deputies now. An area where the speeds are still pretty high and we don't have much in the way of traffic. Yeah, interesting here. Correct. They just got off onto a small little surface street that heads north of the 126, and I'm not certain what this street is. Now, a lot of times we'll get our information on the streets from the CHP and listening to their scanners, so it makes it a little more difficult at this point in time. But he slowed quite a bit, going into a lot next to a home, and now making a U-turn and headed back on this street, which would put him back on the 126. For a moment there, it looked like maybe the individual was familiar with this area, was trying to get out on foot and make a run for it. That usually is the best bet for someone who's being chased and a patrol car is not right behind them. But now they're headed back towards the 126, and at this point they'll be able to either go back the direction they headed back to the east or continue west, but with a right turn are headed back to the west on the 126 once again. So what was in the mind of that individual when they got off for a moment, turned around, and then got right back on the 126 is hard to say, but still no air unit. Now, one is en route. When they get overhead, we will pass the information along to them that we have, and we do not have a patrol car right behind the vehicle either. It'll be interesting as we go a little further, though, to see in some of these intersections if CHP isn't standing by to pick this individual up. You know, lots of times we'll see them go into surveillance mode, but usually it's when they have an air unit overhead and they can make sure that they at least have an eye on the individual as the patrol cars back off so they don't push the driver to drive at such excessive rates of speed. But in this case, he's coming up on an intersection here and at least slowing. There we go. At some point in time, we had seen that individual run through red lights, and I believe that was also a red light initially that he went through right there. Yeah, it certainly is. You know, at this point in time on the 126 here, even at high rates of speed without much in the way of traffic, not that it's safe, by all means it's certainly not safe, but as far as the chance of injury to someone, if this driver who appears to have pretty good control of the vehicle just drives at a high rate of speed and stays in the lanes and avoids the traffic, it doesn't look like it's that dangerous at this point. But the 126, if you're familiar with it, it'll run away from the 5, it'll head out through Fillmore, Santa Paula, and then down in the Ventura area, which could make things challenging for us because it appears up ahead in the Fillmore, Santa Paula area that we do have a layer of fog or a marine layer that may push us down a little lower than we can actually get to continue to follow this individual, at least to do so safely. Now, there was a patrol car that just went by him, and that patrol car is now turning around. It's about a mile behind the vehicle, and now we at least have one patrol car that is continuing to follow this vehicle on the 126. But once again, the surprising thing is the fact that there's no patrol car right on this individual when there's not an air unit overhead. I explained earlier that sometimes they take surveillance mode, they'll back off, but usually that's when an air unit still has an eye on the the suspect vehicle. Well, yeah, that's definitely the case. And, Philip, what happens is, we have separation with law enforcement and their helicopters. So sometimes they can get down under a marine layer and they can follow this individual, follow right on. We need separation from the air unit. I think we may be losing the signal a little bit. We're getting down into an area where we have to fly low, and we may have to change mountaintops. But we're coming up into the Fillmore area on the 126, and we're going to get into a lot more congestion here. We're going to get into an area where there are several stoplights, so the vehicle's going to have to stop, and we'll really get an idea just how desperate this individual is to get away or to continue moving. There's a patrol car, I believe, that is about a half a mile behind, is going to come up on this vehicle here in a moment, and then in just a moment we're going to hit some of these intersections in Fillmore, right where the 23 comes down, and then up ahead of us, you don't quite see it yet, there is a marine layer that is quite a bit lower. I believe we can get under that, but it does give us some challenges as far as our signal is concerned. But this will be interesting here as we get towards an area where there is a lot of congestion. I'm sorry, Philip, I was distracted there for a moment. Could you repeat that? Yeah, it won't last for long, and I think we have the assistance of SkyMap coming up now, or SkyMap, and it's fantastic. 45 miles an hour or so, traveling through these intersections in Fillmore. I think we just passed the intersection with 2 an hour, weaving in and out, more dangerous than it was. Okay, very good. Yeah, we understand that CHP is actually watching our footage now to try and get an idea where this individual is, and they can see on the sky map what we can, and that's the speeds. They can approximate where he'll be in a few moments. We're coming up on some fog. I think for the moment, though, we'll be able to get down and deal with this. But we're leaving the area where there's some congestion in Fillmore. The next really area we'd come up with would be Santa Paula.
All right, heads up, we're working to get that. We are working desperately to get that feedback out of California where there is currently a car chase happening. We are working to get that feedback. There it is. You heard him talking about having to fly low and having kind of there being difficulties in the connection because he's flying so low. But we are going to continue to bring this car chase to you as long as we have it. And we'll stay on with our satellite team to continue to bring you this feed. Thank you so much for your patience.
Ed, you copy saddle?
And again, they were talking about earlier just a few minutes ago how it's going to be difficult to keep this feed going in the direction that he's heading because they're having to fly so low. So we are going to stay on top of this with you. We have not lost the connection. It's just kind of dipping in and out. So we apologize. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate you staying with us here at ABC 15. We're going to continue to bring you this live coverage of this chase out of the LA, Southern California area. And that helicopter pilot saying just a few moments ago that they were cutting in and out because of the fog, the marine layer, I believe he said specifically. There he is. So hopefully we won't have problems with that throughout the afternoon.
Whoa, look at that.
Depending on the direction that the driver heads. But we're going to continue to bring you this live coverage, and thanks for your patience.
So what is he doing now? Well, we have the vehicle getting off the 126 onto a dirt road. And unfortunately, you know, the patrol car is way behind. They won't be able to see where he turned into. There we go. Just get around to the other side. We're going to try and follow this individual, or two. It looks like at least two. That appears to possibly be a woman who got out of the driver's side and a man who's now making a run for it. We're in a avocado grove or a citrus grove right off the 126 at Timber Canyon Road. So that's going to be really key information for CHP or Kern County Sheriff or Ventura County Sheriff, depending on which agencies try and get on this. If you widen up a little bit, is the woman right behind him going in the same direction, or did she take off somewhere else? There she is to the left. They're both in here. Yeah. Yeah. Well, open up a little bit. They tried to take off in different directions, but the fact that they're in this one orange grove is going to make it very difficult, because if you go to the left, you're up on the 126 once again, and I'm not sure where the woman is that took off, so we'll go back to the man in question there. But it's right off Timber Canyon Road. We know that law enforcement now knows that. They're getting that information from us. It can only run so far, and then they're going to be able to come to us, and we'll show them where these individuals are, at least this one man. We've lost track of the woman, but I do not see, there's the first patrol car right now coming off the 126 onto Timber Canyon Road into this orange grove. There is a home here that he's somewhat far away from. It's hard to say if they're familiar with this area or they just noticed all of a sudden that they could get off the road. Yeah, there's a vehicle. It looks like maybe he looked for a moment to see if he could get inside. I'm trying to pick him up outside and see how close he is to this home in question, which could raise concerns as well. But there's another street. If you took that street down, there would be a home. But he continues to just run through the trees now and try and avoid law enforcement. But there's only one unit here. There's not an air unit overhead yet. So at this point, they're still trying to respond to this location to see if they can get these two in custody. Go to the right and open up. I want to see that house. There he is. There you go. I want to see the house. Well, it does, and what we want to get out is Timber Canyon Road comes off the 126. The very next driveway is a driveway for law enforcement that runs into this house here. Now, for a moment there, I thought maybe the individual parked there and this was his home, or he knew somebody who lived there, but he didn't go into the house. There's a portion of the barn there, and he's under that grouping of trees. But for law enforcement, if they're watching, Timber Canyon Road is where they all got off, but if you go one driveway, or one exit, if you will, to the west, from where they got off on the car, that's the street that you see right there where the suspect is hiding. Now, we lost track of the woman. I believe she's still in the orange grove. She wasn't nearly as quick as the man was as far as her speed. The man, we believe, is right down in this grouping. And once again, at one exit west of Timber Canyon Road, if law enforcement is getting the message, and they are, they just now are pouring into the street. Actually, unfortunately, the first us, this is the right street. If the information is getting to law enforcement from us, that is the correct street that the patrol car just turned onto right now. So we'll come back off that and see if we can pick up the suspect once again in this grouping of trees, just maybe considering that he's continuing to run to what would be the north and maybe get into some deeper areas where he could hide. There he is, bottom of the screen, I believe. I think we saw him for just a moment right in that area, which isn't too far down the street. So law enforcement, if you're listening, if you continue to come down this street past the barn, there'll be a red barn on your left. If you continue 100 yards past the barn, that's where the man is inside the trees. They are just moving slowly north. Open up your shot right now. You can see he has the door open. And if you're listening to us, which we think they are, taking our feed, open up more. There's the car. He's going to be about 100 yards in front of you if you continue north. So if they get a radio call to that individual and you continue going, we think that's where the suspect is, about 100 yards north of where those patrol cars just pulled up. There you go, and see the sky map on the bottom. It's Santa Paula still. It's in Ventura County off Telegraph Road. That's the exact spot, and the sky map is so useful for that. It's really quite incredible. Well, one of the things you don't see in this picture is that if the suspect continued past those row of trees, it goes into an area where there are more groves, but the groves are not as well grown, and it would be difficult to hide. So we're fairly certain that if law enforcement, once again, if you're watching, it would be to the east side of where the patrol cars. That grouping of trees is where the suspect was last seen, and we were looking, and we didn't see him come out of that grouping. If he goes any further north, he'd be visible immediately, and then if he goes back to the east, he'd be headed back towards where the pursuit terminated, where the vehicle was parked and they ran from, and we don't expect that because there's more units there. So it's just a matter of time. The suspect will be taken into custody. There's little to no chance that those individuals will be able to get away unless they knew this area, that was their house, and that what concerned me initially. If you were smart, you might park a ways away and then run into the house and say, I don't know what's going on. But that was not the case. They're in this grouping of trees, and it's just a matter of time. There's another home in the area. You know, you always get concerned. We come out just a little bit on the top of your screen when there's a house, a family, people working. I've seen someone out working in the grove. You have a suspect that could be armed and is obviously desperate to get away. It just brings up the potential for harm. Whoa, is this, who's that guy? Wonder where the woman went. She probably didn't make it this far. Come down and look at the sheriff's deputy on the road. Tilt down. Tilt down. Where'd he go? He stopped, so I think he might see something in there. He was walking along the road, now he stopped there. We have more officers coming. They never got past that street. At least we never saw him get past that street. I don't think he did. All right, we'll try and climb a little bit. Maybe just pop it up a little for our signal, I guess. All right. That's good. That's good. He is up a tree. Even if he's not up a tree, he's up a tree. Go back to the officer and see if he's still looking in the same direction there. He stopped, which makes me think that he saw something. I never saw him run across that street. Not only that, there's nowhere to go. I mean, why would you run across that street and be out in the open when you're trying to hide? He's got to be in there. What? Yeah, I've been watching the street. He's got to be in there. Go to the officers. I think they spotted him. If any, Don't drift any further east. What's that road? Open up a little bit. Sky map's not working, not giving us anything. All I see is Sky Map 7. I don't see any details. Not on the bottom. We're not getting the readout. He said take it off? Well, yeah. There you go. What is that? Timber Canyon Road, I guess, would be the closest. Okay. Pick up. Yeah. Yeah. Who is the agency here? Is it Kern County Sheriff? All right. I don't know why you said Kern. Oh, it started way up in Kern? Yeah, they got a canine unit, and that's going to help. We're pretty certain that one of the two suspects who ran from that vehicle right off the 126 at Timber Canyon Road is in the grouping of trees that you see right there. Now, the canine unit and one of the officers went into that grouping just a moment ago. We watched pretty carefully. We saw him run into this area, and then we don't see any area for him to go outside of this. The woman we lost track of, but it was a stolen vehicle out of Kern County, traveling extremely high rates of speed, over 100 miles an hour on the 126, which is Telegraph Road, and then on to Timber Canyon Road. They tried to hide the vehicle behind a container, and then they ran from that vehicle into a orange grove and then into this grouping of trees. So we believe the suspect will be in custody fairly soon. We also believe that he's approximately in that grouping there. The officers stopped here. They let the dog go in. So we believe they'll both be in custody in not too long a time, but certainly the man who ran to this spot, we're pretty certain he's right in there, and they should have him in custody soon. Go left, push in to the left. Go south a little bit. LA County Sheriff? LA County Sheriff? Come straight up again with tilt up. Right there. Yeah, my understanding is they're not going to let the dog go and go after an individual unless that individual just won't give themselves up, because the suspect in that case is going to get mauled by the dog. In most cases, they wait until the suspect, they see him, they have him in sight, and he just won't come out of a crawl space. Eventually, they're going to say, hey, we'll let the dog in. I believe now they're just searching this area on the leash to try and help them find the suspect. We do have Ventura County Sheriff's Air 3 en route, and if he has a FLIR, if he has an infrared on his helicopter, they'll be able to spot these two individuals very quickly. If not, it's just going to take time, but we have more resources pouring in. They certainly will find the two suspects, the man and the woman, but you get into an area like this, it gets a little difficult. I'd be surprised if they don't call in a couple more canine units. And once again, I want to come out and give you a little bit of a wide shot. There are 2 or 3 homes like you see on the top of your screen, and I think that's really what causes concerns in a situation like this. You have a desperate and then a home, and maybe children at home, who knows, is a home here. And then you run into a dynamic where people are put in harm's way, and that's really what we're looking to try and avoid, and they are as well. But right now we still believe the suspect's somewhere in this thick grouping of trees. We lost track of the woman that ran, but the man has got to be, we believe, at least in this area, because if you come away from that area, you're exposed, and that's why we don't think that he'd run to the west or to the north. If you can put it out my side, I can at least stare down there and see if I see any movement anywhere. Well, it could only be the woman. Yeah, it can't be this guy. Not unless he's a magician. Okay, Chris, let's go. I mean, I realize he's there. No, they're still looking around. We lost them for a moment. Set up over there then, in between these two. Understand, you'll be behind them if you continue north. There you go. Park it here and point the nose to the west. Point that way a little more. Just the nose, just the nose. There you go, thank you. Point a little right pedal if you can. There you go. I think he's hiding in those trees where he was before. No, and he didn't go north, due north anyways. He would have to go back east and then north to get in an area where he could actually hide. He's hiding in those trees right there. All right. Any tape or anything like that? I don't think the woman got far. Well, I would go back to where it ended then. Go back to the termination point, please. Chad? Right there. Push into the vehicle. To the right, to the right, to the right. Come on, you know where it got right off the roadway there. Okay. And then we can open up and come back to the area where we think, I mean, because just to show that area doesn't help any. Yeah, that's fine. I still want to try and keep it in. You know, if you can pass on to the sheriff's deputy that we're pretty sure he's right in there. If you tell him to go north of the red barn, that thick area of trees, we never saw him come out of that. Oh, he was watching our footage. Oh. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, the canine way up here, I think that's useless. What police is that? Can you tell? You on the doubler? Santa Paula? All right. Cold open? Same thing to me. And Ventura County Sheriff's deputies continue their search for two suspects that led police on a high-speed chase off to the 126 at Timber Canyon Road here in the Santa Paula Fillmore area. Now, the two suspects, one man and one woman, ran from the car that you see there into an orange grove. Right now, they have a helicopter overhead as well as several units surrounding this area and a canine unit as they continue to search for the two outstanding suspects. From Air 7 HD, I'm Scott Reif, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Okay, no problem. First I heard of that one. Yeah, I know there's no way. Come back to the road here. Is that a motorcycle? Come back to the west side. I'm not sure. Is that a motorcycle outside? They need an infrared. That's correct. Can you ask? We'll ask. Yeah, he believes they're still looking for both, as far as he knows. He can point it to the north, I guess. I can't see anything now. Actually, point it to the east if you can. We don't have a wind issue. This is good right here. Don't go any further east. Okay. Is- Well, if we're in the round robin, you have to show me something. Not that. That's for sure. Well, can we go back to the west a little bit? Anybody behind us? Yeah, let's go back so that we'll shoot these patrol cars right here. Yeah, we'll shoot there. We can show the open up, show the 126, show the area they're searching. We're right in here. That's good. Point her back to the. Where? What are those officers doing on the road? I don't think we're going to spot them in there, to be honest with you. There's more up there, though, right? Up the street, like where the motorcycle was? Right in there? No? All right. So how did they want cold opens to actually be done? I'm Scott Reif in Air 7, and we're over the search? Okay. All right, that's fine. That's weird. Tilt, go to the, we're a ways out, right? Go to the, tilt up, go to the right. Go right. Open up. Tilt up a little bit. Push in right in there. Keep up aisle higher. No, up, 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 up. Right in there. That little, to the right now a little bit. Right in there. Saw some, oh, I saw the reflection there. Is Sheriff's ship still here? He couldn't have got that far. That's not possible. We would have known him if we would have saw him if he got out of that thick grouping of trees. Yeah. Sure. What's going to be on it? The vehicle? They're rolling out to something pretty quick there. Getting out. Okay. Yeah, they're leaving the scene. They must be departing. I don't know why. They must have something else they have to go to. Yeah, we're aware of them. We've been looking at them. The other guys left. It's weird. All right. And I'm Scott Reif in Air 7. We're in the Fillmore area. Ventura County Sheriff's deputies are still looking for two outstanding suspects who ran for that vehicle. You see they're parked next to the container. A stolen car suspects traveling at a high rate of speed onto the 126. A man and a woman ran into this orange grove right off the highway. They set up a perimeter. The K-9 unit is here as well as an air unit overhead. From Air 7 HD, I'm Scott Reif, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Yeah, I felt that. Well, it worked, I guess. Why are all the units leaving? They know something we don't? Do they not care? Maybe, yeah, maybe Highway Patrol is just leaving and letting Ventura County Sheriff deal with it. It's lunchtime. Okay. Not really. Well, I know that the suspects are nowhere near where he is, right? Unless they doubled back and they went back towards the police in their car. They went way up there. We talked to the helicopter who's up there a little ways, and he said they're just trying to start at the top and work their way back. Wow, okay, well, let's go up there and take a look. I don't know. What's that? Oh, we've been told to stay on the south side. We can't go up there. Yeah, I wanted us south of the 126, the helicopter. Okay. Okay. Could be. We're just pulling up on it. Give us a second. Yeah, I know, but if they have one in custody, more than likely that's where it's at. I think we need to go that way if we can, Chris. Yeah. Well, if we want to look in here, right there, so we'd like to look. Oh, we are? Now look, we're moving forward and we're moving that way. We got to be moving towards it, right? And then this way. I mean, we just look at the monitor. Look, we go that way. At 1 o'clock now, but not 1 o'clock. Well, you're pointed that way. I don't know if this is it or not. Yep, there it is. There he is. Hold it right here, Chris. Man, he made it pretty far. So we're the only ones with this, I guess. Everybody else left. Or no, they stayed down south of the 126 where you can't see this. I'm shocked. Hey, man, when you're hyped up on something, I guess you can really run. That's true. I guess they were listening to us. They did follow us in. Oh, cool. What a good dog. Dog had his fun for today. Yeah. Maybe I'll get a cat to chase when he gets back home. You know there's somebody who'd be really upset about that. Oh, yeah. Yep. You'd probably get a lawsuit in the United States if you did that. Yeah, I don't think you'd have a problem with that. All right, you want to go look for the other one? Just take a trek back towards home and take a little peek. I don't think so either. She didn't appear to be running too fast. I'm shocked this guy got this far, though. Yes. Probably, huh? All right, I think we're clear to go back to Van Nuys. I don't think they want us. Yeah, my understanding. We're clear back, Jay. Is that correct? Okay. So, what is the difference between a self-toss and a cold open? I'm just curious what the difference between a self-toss and a cold open is. What's a self-toss then? Oh, okay. But if it's a cold, when somebody tells me it's a cold open, that means it's a self-toss. Nobody's tossing it to me, right? Yeah, no, I've been told that before. Well, I guess the confusion is if you say it's a cold open to me, then it is a self-toss. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to toss it, I'm Scott Reif in Air 7. Okay, yeah, they do. Sometimes in the morning they'll say that. Okay. Okay, but if somebody does use the wrong terminology and they say, hey, it's a cold open, as far as I'm concerned, it's just going to be a self-toss. I'm going to have to toss it to myself, basically, or just start talking. They've told me that before in the morning, too. Just start talking. They would say just what you said. It's a cold open. But then that means that I've got to toss it to myself. I think just like you did, there's such a small difference between them. It's sort of like, oh, okay, it's cold open, just start talking. But no problem. I'll start them all with, I'm Scott Reif in Air 7 if that's what they want. Yeah, it might change tomorrow. Yeah. Tad, can I have one of those wipes again, please?